When I send out what I call a shotgun email blast from the old website, I would say almost half of those addresses that were on on the old website are bad. So the thing that's important is when you change your email address or you change your mailing address, let us know so that we can do the update so that you'll continue to get the information from the website. Now I'd like to turn a few minutes over to Stewart Davenport. He's on our board to talk to us a little bit more about the family history work that we need to do.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm glad to be here today. So, like Chuck said, he's asked me to talk about the importance of doing family history. First, let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm Stewart Davenport. My father's name is Brent Morgan Hess Davenport, who is the son of Lauren W. Hess, son of Jedediah Morgan Hess Jr., and then Jedediah Morgan Hess Sr., who is the son of John W. Hess. We're from the Emma line, Bigler line, and like Chuck said, I serve on the board of directors along with Cameron and Jay and Chuck and several others. And so we're trying as a family organization to make sure that we get our family history done, because it's important that it doesn't just become something that we're like, oh, that's only for old people. How many of you have ever heard that? By raise of hands, just if you've heard family history is for old people. I'm here to dispel that myth. Family history in the past was something that was very difficult for people to do, which required a lot of time, and so it required the people that had that time, which was generally old people. But with the ways that technology is going today, it's becoming impossible for everybody to do it. And even though there's people that don't understand the new technologies that make it easier for the younger people who don't have as much time, they can still do it because the old methods still work. It's just it's different. But I'll explain how we can combine those efforts together to make it really work the best that we can. Before I get into the real meat of what I'm about to talk about, I just want to read a little bit. It's on the newsletter on page 3 if any of you want to follow along. It's a letter from John W. Hess to his son Jedediah Morgan Hess. And he's talking about the importance of doing family history research. So it reads, Mr. J. M. Hess, my dear son, I have been writing a long encouraging letter to Hiram telling him that I have turned over to you a part of the records of our ancestors, and told him that I want to take an interest part with you and do all that he could do himself, and to with you use his influence with the rest of our children to help to carry out on this temple work. I would like you and Hiram to look the record over and select 500 or 600 names of men and women. Can anybody imagine doing 500 or 600 names of men and women in the temple today? That would be amazing. Take your wives with you and go to Logan and be baptized for them. It would take you only one trip, and then you would have a good start on this work. I can't imagine it would take just one trip to do 600 people.
A week-long trip.
Yeah, a week-long trip. I'm sure that's what he was referring to. Then as soon after we get the folks together and organize into companies and make arrangements to do the ordnance work as fast as you can by one company going to Logan, stay as long as they can, then they come back and others go, and so keep the good work going and not delay it longer than can be possibly helped. Then we will be justified, but not otherwise. I want to re-emphasize that he said that. Then we can be justified, but not otherwise. This important matter weighs very heavy on my mind. I wake up nights and think of it. It seems sometime to me that the spirits hover around me and are prompting to hurry this work of redemption. And I do hope, Jed, that you will get the spirit of this work to rest mightily upon you, because I know much of the responsibility of pushing it ahead depends on you. If I can get you and the rest of the children, that is all of us, interested, as I think you ought to be, I would feel that I had accomplished the crowning effort of my life. If we can be the means of unlocking the prison doors that hold our dear ones, I should be exceedingly happy. I think that this will suffice for the present time. My health is much the same as when you were here. I am attending to my duty most of the time and doing the best I can. The rest of the folks are well as common. I hope you and yours are well. May the Lord bless all of you. P.S. I want you to enlist Bishop Henry S. Symphony and all in this matter. Most respectfully, your father, John W. Hess. So, we've heard from our common ancestor the call to do this work. Now, I'm going to re-emphasize some of the things that he was saying. Family history work he was saying is resting mightily upon his mind. And the reason is because as living people who have received the gospel of Jesus Christ, we're the only ones that can actually do the work. Our ancestors and our relatives who have passed on and never had their work done cannot do it for themselves. We are the ones to do it. Also, if that work does not get done, according to Malachi chapter 4, verses 5 and 6, it says in Malachi that the whole earth would be smitten with the curse. Modern revelation has changed what that scripture says to say that the whole earth would be utterly wasted at his coming. What that means is that when the second coming of Christ happens, if the work of doing our family history and temple work was not done, the whole purpose of creating the earth is for naught, and it's just utterly wasted. Doesn't mean it's going to be destroyed, it's just pointless. So, the Lord has placed it upon us to make sure that we do that work. Now, it's a daunting task for us to do that much work, to imagine I've got all of these ancestors going all the way back to Adam to do that work. Well, first of all, don't go back to Adam. It's too difficult. The church only suggests that you go back to about the year 1500. Beyond that, it's too difficult to do the work because of some circumstances that happened with records. But you can go back to 1500 and doing the work. That's definitely encouraged. But I want to turn the focus away from just doing that to making it fun. Because like I said, it's possible for us to do the work now, even if you're not old, even if you don't have a lot of time. So first, what are the benefits of doing our family history work? Some of it is that we know our heritage. We know where we've come from. How many of you, by raise of hands, feel blessed knowing that you are part of the John W. Hess family? I don't think anybody didn't raise their hand. Knowing where you come from helps give you a foundation that you can build on, and having that foundation also helps give you direction in life. So when you don't do family history, when you don't know where you're from, a lot of the time you get lost. Most of the time we see this happening in cities around the world that are full of crime. They've got families that are broken, they don't know who their parents are, they don't know who their grandparents are, they don't have those relationships, and so you have young men and women getting out there getting into crime because they don't have those things to help keep them grounded and give them this foundation of strength. So that's one of the benefits of doing family history, that it helps us have that foundation. Another thing, this is one that's really interesting, that there's been studies that have been done that researched the effect that family history work has on children and their test scores. It's been found that children who know even just a little bit about their families, that could be their grandparents or their great-grandparents or anything, as long as they know just a little bit about their family history, they are able to do much better on their test scores. And again, they don't get involved in crime and things like that. So, it would be a very big benefit for us to make sure that our children are getting involved in family history. To help our children get involved in family history, like Cameron was saying, what the best thing we've got for us right now is the technology. Because technology is making it possible for us to do what used to take years, and now we only have to take days or maybe even hours to do it. Have any of you ever indexed before? Indexing is really, really neat way that we can do family history work, that when you have a record that has that family history information, you can index that and make the information searchable. That only requires, with the way technology is going now, it takes minutes to do that instead of several hours to do something like sitting down in front of a piece of paper, writing it out, and then mailing all of that information back like we used to. We can now just do the work on the computer. It takes 5 minutes, we send it back. We can use Family Search, which helps us do much of the work there. All of these tools have made it possible for us to do family history work very quickly. We've got social media that helps us organize our family history efforts. We can talk with our cousins, with our brothers and sisters and say, okay, I need help researching this, and everybody can take that effort. And so one person would have taken it a month, now 10 people can do it in 3 days. Just the technology makes it really possible for us to do that family history work. And then there are probably those of you out there that are like, well, I don't know how to use a computer. What do I do when I don't know how to use a computer? There's two options you've got. One option is you can try to learn if you think you can. Talk with a young person, they'll teach you how to use the stuff. If that scares you, what you can do though is you probably still know the old ways of doing family history work, that you can do the research, you have the knowledge and stories and stuff. You can write that down, give it to one of your grandkids or a young single adult or something like that. They know how to use the internet, they know how to use the computers. Give it to them, let them digitize it, and they'll make it available online. You can combine your efforts if you don't know the technology with those that do, and thereby we can use the strengths of both generations to really benefit the work of doing family history. And again, because of technology, it doesn't have to be just at home or just at the church. With devices like the ones that you see here, you can take literally your family history anywhere. I have a really interesting marvel that I like to look at, that you can do family history flying in an airplane 30,000 feet in the air, flying 500 miles an hour, and that data travels from the ground to space, to the airplane, back to space, and then back to the ground, all in seconds. The technology is there. And just because you're afraid of it doesn't mean it has to stop you. So I'm going to encourage everybody to do their family history, that we utilize the technology that we have, the blessings that we have, and that we take the blessings of the gospel and extend it to our family members who have passed on. I say this in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.